Some of the best game updates originate from a policy known as Thursday All-Day Personal Projects, or TAPP for short. This policy was inspired by Google's Innovation Time Off policy, where Google engineers were encouraged to spend 20% of their work time on projects that interest them. Similarly, Jagex employees were able to spend every other Thursday, so 2 days per month, or 10% of their time on personal projects as well. These projects could be anything as long as it was relevant to their position and or the company in some shape or form. These projects, presumably driven by passion, occasionally turn into something that could be fit for a potential release. In this video, I'd like to cover the most impactful TAP updates to have released into the live game since the policy has been placed on hold since August of 2018. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thanks to a RuneScape artist by the name of Glayside, I recently found out about TAPP projects, or TAP projects, as I had no prior knowledge about the policy existing. I was shocked to see that many impactful updates originated from TAP, including quality of life updates we now take for granted. For example, Xmod Shawnee, who was a community manager until October 2019, worked on the following updates we all use today. The Rune Pouch and Tearing Quiver giving warning messages when almost empty. The buff and debuff bar rework, including stuff like Sign of the Porter charges left. The NPC buff bar rework. Colored hit splats. Being able to inspect players' gear and inventory in the group system. Being able to broadcast your personal best time using the boss tab timer. The dynamic dungeoneering map, which updates as you go along throughout the dungeon. And something that you may or may not know exists today, skybox filters. Skybox filters are great for video content creation, they're great for enhancing the visibility of darker areas, think the Ripper Demon dungeon, and much more. The biggest TAP update Xmod Shawnee worked on was the clan rework, and according to Xmod Shawnee, who was happy to answer my questions on Discord, the rework originated from another TAP project by Mod Molter, who was planning to rework just the clan avatar system. But when Mod Shawnee picked it up, he wanted to rework a little bit more than the clan avatar, and it transformed into a huge rework covering the Citadel, avatar, skilling plots, the clan log, clan notice board, and that also involved the engine team to add things like clan broadcasts. Overall, the clans are far more useful and better suited now than what they were before. After taking up the project in December of 2017, it took Xmod Shawnee about 7 months before the clan rework was finished and released. In my opinion, the most impactful update that originated from TAP is Revolution++, an update that was announced at RuneFest 2017, developed by ModPie and later released in November of 2017. Now, why do I think this update is so impactful? Well, with Revolution being able to use thresholds and ultimates with Revolution++, this is the update that allows you to properly AFK in EOC combat mode and allowed casual players to do decent damage by the abilities of your action bar being used automatically. This update should have been part of the Evolution of Combat update in 2012, and as I said in my EOC documentary video, it might have led to a far less negative reaction, as it would have been far easier to convert to the new combat system with a proper Revolution system in place. It's worth noting that Revolution was still far from perfect back in 2017, and Revolution was improved even more so in April of 2021, removing delays in between channeled abilities when not actively using those abilities. If you've done high level PVM, chances are you've also done the Shattered Worlds minigame, as its rewards are still used for PVM to this day. This too was an update that originated from TAP, which Mod Deg and Mod Erator have worked on. The minigame is a fun substitute for PVM, feeling similar to the Diablo rifting system for players that have played Diablo 3. Today, doing Shattered Worlds will give you access to Slayer masks, useful Slayer abilities for Crotal's dungeon and more XP boosts, and the most accurate mobility ability in the game being Bladed Dive. There's a very high chance you've heard of Bladed Dive before, either on a video guide, in-game, on a Discord server or Reddit post, as it's an excellent ability used in many Slayer and bossing activities. Invention is one of RuneScape's most unique and interesting skills, and many of you know that all Invention items we have today weren't all released in a single update. The Hammertron and Tinderbox-O-Matic alongside 5 new invention perks were part of an update that originated from TAP, developed by Mod Ryan. The ability to train and benefit from invention with 2 more skills is a worthy mention of an impactful update for sure. Another fantastic update Mod Ryan worked on through TAP is the ability to get skilling outfits through other means than Treasure Hunter. Believe it or not, at some point Treasure Hunter was the main way to obtain skilling outfit pieces. Later, after this update, more outfits were obtainable through the invention skill using fragments, and finally in September of 2021, All scaling outfits were removed from Treasure Hunter completely, only obtainable through gameplay, as it should be. Imagine if every scaling outfit was still only available for Treasure Hunter. Ugh. Now, I was surprised to find Nex, AOD, and Solak in the list of updates originating from TAP that are known on the RuneScape wiki. I was confused and I kind of didn't believe it was true, so I shot ModRamen a message on Twitter and he confirmed that both bosses did indeed originate from TAP. What I found particularly interesting is that the Angel of Death boss was coded while ModRamen was part of the QA team, and he was offered a job as content developer after AOD's release because he had proven that he was able to take on a project of that size alone. It's worth noting that he skipped the junior position and went to content developer straight away. Now, another boss ModRamen worked on that started out as a TAP project was Solak. At the time ModRamen was working on Solak in his spare time, he was approached to work on a project relating to developing 3 new Slayer creatures. He created a landmass for these Slayer creatures, but also managed to create a placeholder area for Solak to be placed in case it got the green light. This would be far easier than shrinking or expanding the area. Eventually, ModRamen was approached about Solak, a team was made, and then the update was made official and part of the roadmap. Isn't it amazing that 2 of the biggest group bosses ever released originated as a passion project part of TAP? I think it is. Another perhaps not so impactful but very important update created by ModRamen back in 2016 was boss pet overrides. The reason I mention this update is simple. Can you imagine getting a boss pet and not being able to show it off? Imagine having to pull out your pet and dismissing your familiar every time you want to show off your pet. This is a feature any MMO should have, and thanks to ModRamen we do. It's wild to think that some of these updates might just have never seen the light of day, and it also makes you wonder what updates didn't see the light of day. XModShawnee mentioned that they did TAP review meetings where developers would get together to show off potential TAP projects that were in a presentable state. I would have loved to just sit there and listen just to see what kind of ideas they've come up with, even if they wouldn't come into the game. Despite fantastic updates coming out of TAP, it has been put on hold since 2018. Mods do mention it being cancelled to at least 2019, 4 years ago, and it seems to still be the case. That being said, developers used to, and I assume still, work on personal projects after hours, albeit unpaid. At least one of the reasons for putting it on hold at the time seemed to be the focus on larger releases like RuneScape Mobile. I'm not sure how that holds up to this day as it has been released, but I do wonder what developers are working on in the background. Now, I'd like to thank ModRamen and especially ModShawnee for helping me with my questions. If you want more detailed information about updates, developers, and development, I highly recommend watching the interview Shawnee has conducted on his own channel, which I'll link in the description below. With that being said, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing. A thank you to the channel members supporting the channel, and if you too want to support the channel, click the join option down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.